Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm trying to do some more reviews, particularly of comics that get referenced a lot or have something historically significant, and maybe they're being misremembered a lot. This is one of them. So this is Alpha Flight number 106. And Alpha Flight started in the 80s. It was a John Byrne title. He left it not too long after. The title went to, I want to say, 130 issues or so. This would be the early 90s that this comic came out. And Alpha Flight wasn't doing terribly well. It wasn't top seller. They weren't putting the top art talents on it. And it was one of those titles that it was like a Marvel mainstay because a lot of the things John Byrne was doing in the 80s became kind of this foundational stuff. But it was kind of all over the place at this point. And I don't mean that as an insult. There's a lot of big Alpha Flight fans who love that team and love that book. But it was clearly not one of Marvel's top priorities during this time. So the cover, this comic is relevant because basically this is where Northstar officially comes out as gay, and some backup. I've heard a lot of different opinions on this. I've read the issues and went back and looked over some of them again. The idea that Northstar is gay, I maintain, was established, and it was established almost 100 issues previous. John Byrne was dropping seeds. They did have Northstar be kind of a, there were scenes where he was a ladies' man. He was kind of that's the wrong word. He was like this pseudo celebrity, and so he would act that way. He would have a girl draped around his arm or other things. But there were clearly some seeds planted that he was gay, that this was a front, that he was in the closet, that he was doing this for kind of the fame of it, of what was accepted at the time. I mean, you didn't have these very strange scenes where, like, he's expressing deep love for a woman. You never have that. So it just, I've read back. I think the seeds that Northstar was gay was established much earlier on in the series, and I think it flowed nicely in the sense of nothing felt like a jarring retcon. That said, our cover, which features Northstar screaming, it says at the top, "Northstar as you've never known him before," which is kind of a weird, almost counterproductive message there being said, because if you establish that, like, it's not as you've never known him before is not quite what you want to say. Anyway, this comic, it basically features Major Maple Leaf, and Major Maple Leaf was never. It's kind of this again almost retcon character. He's shown up before. Canada's superhero, which would join Captain America, Human Torch, the Submariner. That he fought during World War II, and the Nazis referred to him as the Great White North because they're not inventive. But anyway, this Major Maple Leaf character fought with the invaders. And the basic premise is, of course, he's older now, and he has a son. In 1963, he revealed his secret identity, and he has a son, and his son has died of AIDS. So as we go into this comic, of course, this is during a time period where AIDS was, a misunderstood. Well, is that what we want? But it was a very dangerous virus. People were concerned about it. It was, it did not, we didn't have our arms around it so there's a lot of misinformation about, how you can contract it. Various doctors were saying things like we needed to lock ourselves in our houses and other things. I mean, there's a lot of concern about AIDS. Just for some historical context. That'd be a whole 20-minute video on itself. So I won't get into that, but just if you're listening to this going, who cares about AIDS? I mean, that's a dumb thing to say, but also this in the 90s, obviously a lot of people cared about it very much, and it was a deadly disease. So our comic shifts over to Mr. Hyde and Alpha Flight's fighting away. This is during this time period where they had these very generic uniforms of kind of red and white, and so Northstar is fighting around, and he's having some troubles. He hears this baby, and he finds this baby girl abandoned in a trash can. Which is it's creepy. Like, I mean, creepy is the wrong word. It's like, yikes. I mean, we're dealing with babies in trash cans now. So the baby's been abandoned. He takes it, he whisks it away. Mr. Hyde's like, your teammate's a pussy. And but Sasquatch is able to very easily attack. And Puck is like, why are we in a hospital? Why are we holding our briefing in the hospital? And he's Northstar refuses to leave unless he learns why the child is sick. This is weird that a superhero team would do this, but okay. So the doctor comes in and basically says the child has AIDS. So the child was infected from the womb, and that the child has AIDS, and it's a dark moment. And Northstar goes and kind of looks at the baby who's has AIDS, and so Major Maple Leaf is watching this from his couch and gets really angry when they talk. The news report is saying that all of Canada has embraced the plight of the AIDS-stricken infant. So he gets mad. He throws his remote at the TV. Nobody's really quite sure why Northstar is upset about this, but Major Maple Leaf basically decides to smash into the hospital and is pissed that this baby is getting all this attention. And he's getting ready kind of to destroy the baby. Like, he's got his fists up and he's going to just smash the baby to death. And Northstar flies him away and says, "What are you doing, Major Maple Leaf? What's going on here?" And they have the classic kind of 90s fight. So they blow through everything. And we learn through exposition, because while they're fighting, they're of course talking to each other, and long paragraphs, which is just clunky. This is one of the bad things in the 90s, was they'd have these big kind of house style fights, and they'd be like they'd be reading novels to each other. So it's basically Major Maple Leaf says, my son wasn't guilty of anything, but because he was gay, he didn't rate. And so we learn that his son died because he had AIDS, but nobody cared because he was gay. That he's Major Maple Leaf's beef is that because he was gay, people ignored it. And on the other hand, this baby is not gay. I mean, it's a baby, and it is everybody's giving the baby attention as being a horrible plight. So Northstar gets mad, and they say, don't lecture me on the hardships homosexuals must bear. No one knows them more than I. For while I am not inclined to discuss my sexuality with people for whom it is none of their business, I am gay. And he's saying this while fighting Major Maple Leaf in the grocery store. And so then there's like he's leaping like extreme style. I am gay, and so they continue to fight. And Northstar's argument is like AIDS is not restricted to homosexuals, and then they fly out of there and smash into a truck, and there's fire and everything, and then Major Maple Leaf's like, how dare you? You've closeted yourself. You're responsible for my son's death because homophobic politicians refuse to address the AIDS crisis. So it's like it's a nuanced conversation of AIDS while they're fighting in trucks with gasoline. So Northstar gets even more mad by that. How dare you? And then punches the crap out of him, and then says, it's time that people started talking about AIDS, about its victims, those who die, and those who are left behind. He gives Major Maple Leaf a hug, and that's how kind of our comic ends, and we get a brief moment of the baby is dying basically. So Northstar holds the baby, and the baby dies. And Major Maple Leaf gives him another hug, and we'll do this together. And so the final page is basically Northstar does a press release or newspaper article saying he is gay, and he wants it to promote conversation, and that's our comic. This in the time this was promoted as a big deal. There was some, not like it is today, but there were definitely some promotion, some press release and hype around this, and it's fine. It was clunky. Nobody really loved this. Gay rights activists didn't really love the idea that he was shouting "I am gay" while fighting in a supermarket, and they didn't love that this whole thing was around the context of this baby dying of AIDS, which was super clunky. I mean, just as as an idea. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, and nobody terribly loved the concept. And it had the misfortune, I think, of coming out at exactly the same time. No pun intended. Coming out at the same time as, you know, there were a lot of really good comics from Vertigo, which had different gay characters, trans characters, other things, and they were handling it with a lot of nuance and substance. And this one was around a dying baby found in a trash can with Major Maple Leaf being angry that his dead son didn't get the attention of a dying baby. So it was kind of like, you know, it was cringy in the sense of how they did this. Now, you know, the good news here is that Northstar would go on and have a pretty good, you know, the comic didn't go too much longer, about 25 more issues, but it was, you know, it was reasonably fine in how it all was put together. Northstar not a lot of people did much with him, but he did go on to have some other comics and you know, was a part of Marvel's you know, message. Different writers would make sure to have him involved in stories that weren't just about him being gay, which was good. You know, he got to actually be a hero and do heroic things, and they didn't make him a one-note character most of the time. Some writers did, but most didn't. And so, you know, in terms of kind of the aftermath, it was fine. In terms of like a landmark issue, it's just kind of laughable is the wrong word, but clunky is probably the right one. It was clunky how this all was put together. And again, especially when you have like Swamp Thing and you have Sandman and you have all these titles over at Vertigo at the same time who were handling it really well. Doom Patrol was doing some great work during the same time period. And so, you know, this one felt like it felt like McDonald's food versus a restaurant meal, if that makes any sense. Just kind of, okay. But anyway, that's the issue. There's been a lot of misrepresentation about what this comic has done, but that what was going on. So this is Northstars coming out. Did you read this issue? Did you like it? Did you like the development? How do you feel about all this? You know, it's weird, right? They're fighting over a dead baby or dying baby. It seems, I don't know. Strikes me as odd. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.